This dress was the latest style in the capital, with only one such piece in existence. It happened to be sold at Uncle Jiang's Enichang Pavilion, reportedly purchased by a generous merchant. So, that generous merchant was Song Yu? Spending my money to lavishly support another woman? My chest suddenly felt unbearably tight. The dress accentuated her slender waist, making it seem almost too delicate to hold. As she walked, it swayed gracefully, utterly captivating. Not just Song Yu, even I, a woman confined to the inner quarters, couldn't tear my eyes away. Noticing my blank expression, a flicker of disdain crossed Song Yu's eyes. "Ning, this is Wanner." I remained stiff-faced, silent. My mother-in-law stepped forward to break the awkwardness. "Wanner, Yuer has spoken of you often. You truly are a remarkable beauty. Come inside quickly, standing too long isn't good for your condition now that you're with child." "Pregnant? Heard about me long ago?" "Humph. So the entire Song household knew except me?" Lost in thought, a 5-year-old boy leaped down from the carriage last, my son, Song Min. I reached out again, instinctively wanting to lift him down. But his expression told me he wasn't pleased to see his mother after a year apart. "Father, Aunt Wan, wait for Minner." He pushed my hand away and leapt off the carriage, chasing after that perfect couple. The attendant looked at me with concern. "Let's go." I imagined someone was waiting in the study to give me an explanation. Song Yu had been assigned to a post outside the capital this very time last year. To allow me to better manage the Song household and to provide Song Min with a proper upbringing, he had taken both himself and Song Min with him. When they left, he was still my devoted husband, wrapped in my personal cotton-padded jacket. But now, the few who returned seemed like a family of 3. No, a family of 4. And I was the one who was superfluous. I smiled bitterly, my mind muddled and confused, dragging my heavy steps toward the study. Inside, the tall, upright figure I had once longed for day and night stood by the window. Yet now, seeing him filled me with utter revulsion. Noticing my arrival, he gestured for me to sit. I approached slowly, waiting for his explanation. "Aining, last year a plague struck Liuzhou. It was Wanner who risked her own life, tending to me closely and meticulously, that I managed to survive." "Is that so?" "I recall arranging for Xiaoyu and Xiaoyun to attend to you personally." "Did they fail in their duties? How did a respectable young woman end up tending to the magistrate's residence?" His expression shifted uncomfortably for a moment. "They were assigned to care for Minner." "Humph. Quite considerate of you, assigning all 4 maids to Minner. Then it's Xiaoyu and Xiaofeng's fault. If they can't even care for Minner properly, why did you need to send Xiaoyun and Xiaoyu over? Useless servants, I'll sell them off immediately." Song Yu's suppressed anger flashed briefly, seemingly annoyed that I kept harping on minor details. "These are minor matters. They've been quite diligent in their duties. What I wish to tell you is this: Wanner's care for me has been invaluable. She is a virtuous, delicate woman whose only request is to be my equal wife. How could I betray her?" It was hard to fathom that such a hypocritical, sanctimonious man was the husband I had always held in such high esteem. To marry me, he once vowed to my father and mother that I would be his only wife for life. His oath still rings in my ears, yet he has long since changed beyond recognition. All these years, I've walked the path of propriety, daring not to touch anything that might harm him. To avoid suspicion, even the dowry shops and estate lands entrusted to me by my mother were handed over to Uncle Jiang to manage. Uncle Jiang, consequently, never had occasion to appear before the Song household. My father-in-law passed away early, leaving me to rise before dawn and retire after dusk, tending to my mother-in-law and managing the Song estate. My once fresh, supple skin has long since grown coarse and weathered. Yet even so, I still pale in comparison to the beauty who now shares his sickbed. The years turn, and human affairs are like dreams. Truly, the old cannot match the new in beauty, nor the new in sorrow. But my lord, I have committed no grave offense. Why must you bring in a co-wife to humiliate me? A flicker of impatience crossed Song Yu's eyes, yet he softened his tone to explain, she is but a frail woman, posing no threat to you. Once she enters the household, she will still obey your commands. Rest assured, the Song manor remains under your stewardship. You needn't worry about getting along with her. After a period of recuperation, I shall take her away on an official assignment once more. Ha! So I'm responsible for using my dowry to manage the Song household and care for his mother, while he gets to take his beautiful, delicate wife to recuperate under my care? Then he'll spend my money to fly off together? What else does he dare to dream of? His shamelessness left me speechless with fury. Stop being petty, it reflects poorly on the Song family. I married her in Liuzhou, but felt she deserved better. That's why I returned to the capital to give her a proper wedding. Mother approves of this, so stop making unreasonable demands. I'm petty and unreasonable? My mother-in-law not only knew about this but approved it? She merely cared for him, yet he marries a secondary wife and claims she's the one wronged. What about all my tireless efforts caring for the entire Song household? What does that count for? Blade after blade of words pierced my chest, nearly choking me with pain. Endless fury made my whole body tremble uncontrollably. I never imagined you would act first and ask for permission later, abandoning your vow of unwavering loyalty to me by marrying another. Yet now you dare call me petty and accuse me of tarnishing the Song family's reputation? Since that's the case, I might as well tell you, the Song household is already bankrupt. If not for my dowry propping it up, what do you think would allow you to live so lavishly now? If you want to give your little darling a proper wedding, you'll have to figure it out yourself. His eyes blazed with fury. It's merely a wedding for honor. How dare you make such unreasonable demands, even lying about the Song household's bankruptcy? I smiled. You know full well the truth about the Song household. Your annual salary is but a few hundred taels, yet look at yourself, just that belt alone is worth hundreds of taels. If I recall correctly, the imperial purple jade bracelet on Zhou Wan's wrist is nearly 3,000 taels. Tell me, where did you, a lowly official with nothing to your name, get the money to buy these? His eyes darted even more nervously. It seemed he knew all along, merely deceiving himself. When the Song estate came into my hands, it held less than 1,000 taels. Where do you think all those lavish gifts you've exchanged over the years came from? They were all from my dowry, a mere merchant's daughter. Now, you've squandered every last bit of my dowry, and you dare to marry another? Is this how you repay me? His expression softened slightly as he moved to embrace me, but I pulled away. A flicker of anger instantly crossed his otherwise calm face. Already angry? You'll have plenty more to be angry about later. If you doubt me, go examine the household ledgers from past years. They will prove my words true. Remember this, in this household, it's me or her. At this moment, I found myself profoundly grateful for my parents' planning all those years ago. They both believed the Song household was too frugal. If I brought substantial dowry, it would inevitably embarrass Song Yu and his mother. Thus, only a fraction of the dowry listed in the registry was officially recorded. The remainder was secretly transferred to me, the properties, fields, and shops managed by Uncle Jiang. How laughable that I'd been using that money to subsidize the impoverished Song household, while he spent my silver to secretly marry a beautiful concubine, just to spite me. Seeing he couldn't persuade me to yield to his demands, his expression darkened with malevolence. I knew your jealousy would drive you to oppose Wanner's marriage at all costs. Jiangning, do you realize how hideously ugly you look right now? With such a narrow-minded heart, it's no wonder Minner favors her more. Your opposition is futile, this marriage is settled. Song Min happened to enter just then. Hearing the earlier exchange, he expressed strong disapproval of my actions. He frowned at me, his words spilling out like venom, seeping into my skin. Aunt Wan is so magnanimous. She surpasses you in every way yet still shares father with you, while you remain ungrateful. How could I have a mother like you? Aunt Juan was right, you truly torment father, refusing to let her care for me. Minner! Don't call me. I don't have a mother as wicked as you. I want Aunt Juan to be my real mother. Get out! He shoved me violently. My lower back slammed into the table corner, sending me crashing to the floor. The pain made cold sweat break out on my skin. I stared at him in horror. Was this the son I carried for 10 months? After just 1 year away, my man had become corrupted, and my son had turned into a thankless wretch. Then, what purpose did I still serve in the Song household? I laughed bitterly. Zhou Wan, she had succeeded. I steadied myself, clutching my lower back as I rose, my gaze filled with pity for Song Min. I just wonder if, once Zhou Wan's child is born, he'll still think of her as a good aunt. Now, I've changed my mind. I looked up at Song Yu, whose face remained utterly expressionless even as he witnessed his son treating his own mother this way. A chill ran through my heart, strengthening my resolve to leave the Song household. Song Yu, over the years, my dowry has been invested into the Song household. If you truly wish to marry Zhou Wan, give me a divorce decree, and I will leave. As for my dowry, I will not pursue it. Otherwise, I will take this matter to the authorities. As I spoke, my gaze swept over him from head to toe. All these years, you've squandered money recklessly. A simple audit by the censorate will reveal whether you're an honest official or a corrupt one. Think carefully about this. Song Yu's usually unruffled face twisted into one of utter disbelief after hearing my words, filled with reproach and disappointment. You want a divorce over this trifling matter? Or else you'll sue me? A trifling matter? Ha! So in his eyes, his betrayal of me was merely a minor issue. Yes, I want a divorce. Otherwise, I will sue you. I couldn't be bothered with his insincere niceties anymore. It made me sick. Don't refuse me so hastily. I'll give you a few days to consider. I'll return immediately to hand over the ledgers and all affairs to you. You may have Zhou Wan manage them. With that, I turned and walked out without looking back. Think carefully. If you divorce me, you won't have a chance to regret it. The gritted words came from behind me. I paused only briefly before continuing onward. Upon leaving the study, Lu Mama, who served my mother-in-law, came to find me. I first had my secretary fetch all the house tokens, keys, and account books to the study, then quietly gave a few instructions to my maid before accompanying Lu Ma to see my mother-in-law. She was resting with her eyes closed. Upon seeing me, she merely opened them slightly to glance at me before speaking slowly. "Ah Ning, you're here? Did you need something, mother-in-law?" She opened her eyes fully, fixing her gaze on my troubled expression. Don't blame you. What man doesn't have concubines? I didn't tell you sooner because I didn't want you to know too early and harbor resentment. Is that so? So catching me completely off guard at the last moment was for my own good? Truly, she is my kind mother-in-law. I advised Yuer to simply grant her the status of a concubine. But she did save Yuer's life, and now she is with child. She comes from a respectable family. Yuer has already married her, this is merely to complete the wedding rites. Don't overthink it. Didn't your father-in-law have multiple wives and concubines back then? It's our duty as wives to bear children for our husbands. Jealousy is a grave sin, one of the 7 grounds for divorce. You must never cross that line. You've only given birth to Minner. The Song household is dwindling, it's only right to have someone else share the burden. Wanner is carrying a child now, she shouldn't be overworked. You're best suited to handle this matter. Just follow the same standards as when you and Yuer were married. You decide how to arrange it. I looked at my mother-in-law before me, speaking as softly and slowly as ever. I never realized beneath her gentle words lay thorns and blades, piercing me until I was covered in wounds. She did indeed permit my father-in-law to have multiple wives and concubines, even taking pleasure in managing them. Yet none of his co-wives, favored concubines, or third-house mistresses met a good end. Not a single illegitimate son or daughter survived, not even the sons born to his co-wives. In the Song household, once teeming with wives and concubines, only concubine Zhuang remained, childless and childless, spending her days eating vegetarian meals and chanting sutras in the ancestral hall. Ha! How laughable! What right did she have to advise me to magnanimously accept my husband taking multiple wives and concubines? Mother-in-law, I have already handed over the account books, matching tokens, and other items to my husband. Henceforth, I shall have no further involvement in the affairs of the Song household. The mother-in-law sprang to her feet, her face twisted with anguish. You still couldn't escape the fate of a jealous woman. I told you. Suddenly, I clutched my chest, frowning as pain made me curl up in my chair. Seeing my distress, the mother-in-law halted her words and sent for the physician. The physician arrived swiftly, taking my pulse and writing a prescription in one fluid motion. Madam has been overworking herself lately, coupled with excessive worry, causing this chest pain. You must rest properly in the coming days, or it may become a chronic ailment. After seeing the physician off, my mother-in-law stared at me with her cloudy eyes, momentarily speechless. I weakly bid her farewell, returned to my quarters, and with a smile, rewarded Shu and Hua with 10 taels of silver. I praised Hua's beautiful work and instructed her to keep a close watch on Song Yu and the others. Then I told Shu, have Uncle Jiang come over when he has time. For the next 2 days, I pretended to be completely ill. After my mother-in-law and Song Yu discussed it, they realized the household truly had no silver left. When they discovered my dowry had been covering the expenses all along, they urgently tried to hand the household management back to me. But I'd be a fool to take back that hot potato once it's been passed on. With a simple "I need to rest," I shut the courtyard gate tight. My mother-in-law had no choice but to order cuts to all household expenses. When I was there to subsidize and manage things, my mother-in-law and Song Yu, driven by their desire for prestige, pursued perfection in every detail. The main kitchen served 2 main meals a day. What used to be 8 dishes and a soup is now just 2 small dishes, no soup. Breakfast has been replaced with plain congee and simple side dishes. The servants who used to attend to my mother-in-law included a personal attendant, Lu Mama, and another, Wu Mama, who handled the mundane affairs. For personal maids, 6 rough service maids and matrons. Song Min had the same arrangement, minus 2 personal maids. As for Song Yu, he had 2 personal valets, for general servants, 1 old housekeeper, for personal maids, and 2 rough service maids. All of these were paid for by me. Now that I've washed my hands of it, she's had to cut back on servants and expenses. All positions except the personal maids, matrons, and valets were reduced. Consequently, those who served closely had to take on extra chores, privately grumbling about it. I locked the courtyard gate tight, kept all my expenses as before, and even opened a small kitchen. When I needed to buy things, I'd slip out the back door. It was incredibly freeing for a while. Time-wise, Song Yu should have come looking for me by now. But I never imagined he'd sink so low. Hua hurried in, his face grim. He closed the door and whispered in my ear, "Madam." I sprang to my feet, breaking out in a cold sweat. How dare he? I had originally instructed Hua to keep an eye on Song Yu and his men, assuming he wouldn't dare openly threaten my life at this critical juncture. I merely wanted to monitor their movements, to know my enemy. Unexpectedly, Hua and the others had uncovered his and his mother-in-law's plot to kill me. They had temporarily concealed the death, waiting until after the wedding to slowly spread the news that I had died of depression. Truly shameless. Given this, I needn't show the slightest mercy. Shu, find Uncle Jiang and request more men for protection. Preferably those skilled in martial arts. Shu nodded grimly and hurried off to handle the matter. Madame Lu returned, carrying 3 food boxes. Madam, the old madam sympathizes with your illness and has sent nourishing soup, snacks, and candied fruits. You may enjoy something sweet after taking your medicine. I smiled faintly. The old madam is thoughtful. Set them aside, I'll eat them later. Madame Lu showed no sign of leaving. The other items may be set aside for later. But this bowl of soup, it's a special tonic for the heart, specifically recommended by the old madam to aid your recovery. Please don't waste her thoughtful gesture. My eyes flickered. I smiled and motioned for Sherhua to bring it over. Just as I was about to drink, I burned myself. Embarrassed, I smiled awkwardly at Lu Ma. It's still too hot. I'll let it cool before drinking. I then had Sherhua fetch 5 taels of silver for Lu Ma. The old lady was so thoughtful, and you went to the trouble of making the trip yourself, Lu Ma. I hope you won't look down on this small token of appreciation. My mother-in-law was notoriously stingy, but upon seeing the 5 taels, Lu Ma's eyes widened in delight. She accepted it with both hands, smiling and thanking me repeatedly. Thank you for your generosity, madam. Well. I pretended to sip the soup. Then please convey my gratitude to my mother-in-law. The soup is delicious, I'll finish it all. Sherhua, please see Lu Ma out. Mother Lu cheerfully took her leave, casting one last glance my way before departing. Seeing me still sipping the soup, the smile at the corners of her eyes and brows deepened. No sooner had she left than Shu brought clear water for me to rinse my mouth. I separated the liquid from the solids, instructing Shu to add them to the bird's nest soup simmering for me in the main kitchen. I told the cook to serve it to me later. Sherhua, take the soup solids out the back door to Uncle Jiang. Find someone to determine what kind of medicine it is. Sherhua returned quickly. Her expression was grim. Strychnine. At today's dosage, consuming it just 3 or 5 times at irregular intervals would be fatal, not only to you, madam, but even to a strong man. They truly left me no chance of survival, eager to eliminate me. I suppressed my trembling heart, forcing myself to remain calm. Shu, it's time for my bird's nest soup. Shu entered carrying an empty bowl, a smile on her face. Madam, you likely won't be able to eat it. The old madam said expenses have been high lately. Master is tightening his belt, afraid of shortchanging father. She's already ordered your bird's nest soup to be sent to the study. Is that so? All the better. That evening, word came that a physician had been summoned to the study, Dr. Lu from Huichun Hall, whom I often consulted. After examination, he found Zhou Wan suffering from a throbbing headache, with Song Yu also showing slight symptoms. The doctor advised both to exercise restraint, ensure ample rest, and assured they would recover by the next day. When the attendant came to relay the message, I couldn't help but laugh. Sherhua also entered, reporting that Uncle Jiang had prepared men waiting outside the estate. Tell them they're gardeners helping me tend the flower beds. Arrange for them to stay in the rear quarters. Yes, madam. Song Yu was trying to drag me into a tug-of-war, but I refused to waste any more time in this bloodthirsty home mansion. I decided to give him a push. As soon as I reached the study door, I heard the 3 of them chatting cheerfully inside. Aunt Wan, your hibiscus cakes are so delicious. Why aren't you my mother? That poisonous woman can't do anything right. Father, why didn't you divorce that sourpuss sooner? Zhou Wan's gentle scolding echoed, Minner, don't speak in anger. No matter how flawed she is, she remains your mother. As long as she lives, you must respect her, understand? If you find her unsatisfactory, come spend more time with Aunt Wan instead. I cherish your company most. She fed him another piece of cake. Eat more if you like it, Minner. Auntie Wan will make more, and we'll raise our Minner nice and plump, okay? Okay, Song Yu watched their warm scene with a smile, taking Zhou Wan's hand and offering gentle praise. Waner is truly virtuous. With Minner in your care, I feel completely at ease. Her expression shifted, and her words took on a cold edge. As for that wicked woman, she's not worthy of comparison to you. Minner, if you dislike her, don't go looking for her anymore. Didn't you say you like Aunt Wan? You can move in with her. Soon you'll be able to call Aunt Wan mother. Song Min jumped for joy. Father, you must keep your word. I never want to see that poisonous woman again, I only want Aunt Wan. I took several deep breaths, ensuring I had suppressed my rage before slowly entering the study. The moment he saw me, Song Yu's expression stiffened. Song Min, however, glared at me with deep hatred. Zhou Wan approached with a gentle smile, curtsying, "Sister greets you." She then turned to Song Yu, "Sister must have important matters to discuss with her husband. Waner will take her leave." Before she could finish, Song Min let out a sharp cry, leaping from his chair and lunging toward me. Caught completely off guard, I froze in terror. Fortunately, the attendant acted swiftly, yanking me away. Song Min, unable to stop his momentum, slammed into the doorframe. Blood gushed from his head, and he began wailing in terror. Zhou Wan's eyes reddened as she rushed to embrace Song Min, murmuring softly, "Sister, Minner is still your child. How could you? If anything happened to him, wouldn't you regret it? He's only 5, still just a child." Song Yu's face turned ashen. He ordered someone to fetch a doctor immediately, then strode forward to cut her off. Regret? She's a venomous woman. If she could harm her own flesh and blood, what wouldn't she dare do? The attendant couldn't stand it any longer and stepped forward to speak for me. "Master, you saw it yourself." Young Master Min sought to kill the mistress the moment they met. Had she not dodged just now, it would be her head covered in blood. The mistress did nothing wrong, why must you all pin the blame on her? Song Yu shot the attendant a furious glance and barked a warning. "How dare you, lowly servant, interrupt your master's conversation? Such disrespect! Bring her forward, spank her." His personal attendant stepped forward, raising his hand to strike. "Stop!" I fixed Song Yu with a cold stare. She lacks manners? She merely protects her master loyally. That's far nobler than my own ingrate offspring, who seeks to take my life for no reason at all. Even as Song Min wailed and screamed, it didn't stop him from lashing out at me. "You're a poisonous bitch. You deserve to die. Only when you're dead will I never have to see you again, or respect you. Why? Why did you give birth to me, and not Aunt Wan?" I had regained my composure, watching Zhou Wan with a faint, mocking smile. Her eyes flickered briefly, but soon she regained her composure. "Indeed. As long as I live, you must honor me. Filial duty weighs heavily, and you are my son." I shot the ingrateful son a glance, my tone measured and unhurried. The physician arrived, examined the wounds, bandaged them, and ordered rest, forbidding contact with water. After seeing Song Min off, I turned to Song Yu, fixing my gaze on his eyes. "Song Yu, how have you decided regarding the divorce?" His shifting eyes held a flicker of anger. "Divorce? Don't even think about it. You've committed the jealousy offense, one of the 7 grounds for divorce. I could be the one to divorce you." "Oh. A divorce decree will do. Go ahead and write it." I shrugged indifferently. As long as I could leave the Song residence, whether it was a divorce decree or a separation agreement, I didn't care, just get it done. But Song Yu. Back when we married, many colleagues witnessed and heard him vow to be with me alone for this lifetime and the next. If he issued a divorce decree now, allowing another wife to enter, his spine would be worthless. "You." His eyes blazed with fury, like a raging beast powerless against its prey. Is it that unbearable for you to see Wonner enter the household? I smiled, watching Zo-won sitting calmly nearby. She appeared utterly detached, yet her ears were pricked, listening intently to our exchange. Yes. With her, there's no room for me. With me, there's no room for her. Hearing my words, her face paled. Song-yu immediately stepped forward, his heart aching, to embrace her. I lowered my eyelids, admitting my petty jealousy. But so what? I'm not intolerant of men having multiple wives and concubines. If Song-yu hadn't sworn to be faithful to me alone for life, what harm would it be if I arranged for him to take wives and concubines? A man without integrity cannot stand firm. Song-yu, he has already lost his footing. I'll give you one more day to consider. If I receive no word by tomorrow, I'll assume you refuse the divorce. We'll settle this in court. On the way back, I instructed my attendant, he'll surely lash out like a cornered dog. Be especially vigilant today. Sure enough, by late afternoon, Mother Lu returned bearing nourishing soup. As usual, I had my attendant reward her with 5 taels of silver, outwardly expressing gratitude for her kindness. Only after watching me drink the soup did she depart. Was the bird's nest stewed today? It was, madam. Very well. Add this bowl of broth to it. After a moment's thought, I added, have the portion. Having it wouldn't kill her, but it would likely cost Zo-won her child. Sure enough, the bird's nest soup was brought to the study once more. By the time the physician arrived, Zo-won was writhing in agony, blood pooling on the floor. Song-yu frantically ordered someone to fetch a doctor, clutching her head and pressing down desperately. When the news reached me, I merely curved my lips in a faint smile. Greedy mouth, serves her right. My mother-in-law, shedding her usual placid demeanor, stormed in with a retinue of maids and servants. Jiangning, you venomous woman. Truly, the quietest dogs bite hardest. Why would you harm my son and grandson? Do you realize that bowl of soup could have cost all 3 their lives? How could you be so wicked? I widened my eyes innocently in protest. Mother-in-law, what are you talking about? Your daughter-in-law doesn't understand what could be deadly. Please explain clearly, or I shall report this to the authorities. At the mention of the authorities, mother-in-law regained some composure. Just tell me, was that bird's nest yours? I nodded, still maintaining my innocence. I ordered the bird's nest to be stewed, but my daughter-in-law never got to eat it. She kept wondering who drank the stew she made. So it was you. Mother-in-law's face turned pale and ashen. He fainted from pain during the bone setting, leaving me so distraught I nearly fainted myself, tears and snot streaming down my face. By 4, he had finally grown stronger. Song Min insisted on taking him to Liuzhou, and I reluctantly parted with him. Little did I know that once he left, he would become someone else's child. At first, I wondered if it was because I hadn't shown him enough affection. But later, I realized that the blood of Song-yu ran through his veins, he was deceitful and selfish. As he grew older, he would inevitably become hypocritical and insincere. Thus, I gave up on him completely. The gardener stepped forward calmly, about to grab him and throw him out. Song Min frantically dropped his dagger and fled for his life, screaming as he ran, "Murder! That poisonous woman is trying to kill me." Shu and Hua watched the scene, their faces filled with worry as they stayed by my side. I merely lowered my gaze, continuing with my tasks. When Song-yu arrived, I had just finished the final tally. A loss. Nearly 100,000 taels of silver lost at the Song residence. The silver I received from my parents for the business, under Uncle Zhang's capable management, had yielded hundreds of thousands in profit over these past few years alone. The money spent at the Song residence? Consider it money down the drain. As I closed the ledger, a furious roar erupted beside my ear. Are you satisfied now? His fists clenched tightly, struggling to contain his rage. Without lifting my head, I replied coolly, satisfied? What exactly are you referring to, my lord? Then I heard the bone-crunching sound of his knuckles grinding together. Can't you stand seeing me treat Warner well? Look at yourself, where is that virtuous, gentle woman you once were? You've become nothing but a venomous, resentful harpy. Admit it. Jealousy has driven you mad. I lifted my eyelids slightly and sighed softly. I admit there's resentment in my heart. But jealousy? Seeing through his hypocritical, selfish facade now only brings relief. How could it drive me mad? If others don't provoke me, I won't provoke them. But if they cross me, I'll repay them tenfold. Were it not for the damage to my reputation if I took their lives now, would he even be standing here to speak with me? Think whatever you wish. I'll ask you one last time, are you willing to grant me a divorce decree? I can give you the decree, but I have one condition. Heh. Finally. I folded my arms across my chest and looked at him with a raised eyebrow. What makes you think I should agree to your unreasonable demands after you betrayed me? You. Perhaps seeing I truly wouldn't back down, he softened his tone. My demands aren't high, just two. First, give me 30,000 taels of silver. His shameless proposal amused me. Song Yu, you've seen my dowry list, haven't you? If not, I have a copy here. I fetched the dowry list from nearby and placed it before him. You do the math. See what remains of my dowry after all these years, whether I can afford 30,000 taels. His face flushed alternately pale and crimson, likely embarrassed to ask for money in front of me. But he had promised Zhou Wan, and he had to follow through. Better to lose face before me than before Zhou Wan. Do you think I don't know you've been running businesses outside these years? Even if things were tight, you shouldn't be unable to come up with 30,000 taels. Indeed, my parents' lavish wedding gifts had caused quite a stir back then, too much to display on the entire street. But times had changed. These years of subsidizing the bottomless pit that was the Song household had long since drained every visible trace of my dowry. 5,000 taels. I might be able to scrape that together. Think it over. He genuinely pondered. I understood. He was weighing whether my worth to him outweighed 5,000 taels. 20,000 taels. I smiled. Minister Song, do you think this is a vegetable market? Even if it were, you can't treat me like a sucker. He gritted his teeth. 10,000 taels. Not a penny more. I shrugged. 8,000 taels is the absolute limit. You might as well just give me the divorce papers. His face darkened like a sooty pot bottom, yet he had no choice but to concede. Another thing, since you've already received the divorce papers, my demand is that you leave the estate 1 month from now. His marriage to Zhou Wan was set for 1 month hence. He truly wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He wanted to marry a legitimate wife yet shield himself from the reputation of being heartless and ungrateful. I can only promise not to spread word of your marriage to Zhou Wan. I'll move to the suburban villa. Whether others spread it or not was beyond my concern. But I wouldn't tell him that. After much deliberation, he finally acquiesced. As for Minner. Before he could finish, I waved him off, unconcerned. He's your son, not mine. You keep him. Only then did Song Yu seem to realize I truly didn't care about the divorce. He hesitated, then pressed his lips together. One hand handed over the divorce papers, the other, the silver. That very day, I had my belongings packed to move to the suburban villa. As I departed, Song Min fixed me with a vicious glare before turning to seek out Zhou Wan. I had planned to rest at the villa for a while, returning to the capital to manage my affairs once my spirits lifted. But the wind would not cease even as the trees longed for stillness. The very night we settled in, we encountered bandits. Worse still, these thieves acted with brazen audacity. One of them made a direct dash for my bedroom. My attendant hurried over to shield me while simultaneously calling for help. The guard's Uncle Jiang had arranged arrived swiftly and soon apprehended them all. I had my attendant light the lamps and ordered several men to conduct a thorough search of the entire courtyard. Only after ensuring no accomplices remained did I interrogate the captured thieves. Brother Chen, their timing was suspiciously perfect. Question them thoroughly, see if there's any foul play. Especially him. I pointed at the burly man who had tried to break into my bedroom. The accused man shuddered violently and stumbled backward. Qin Shi, the captain of the guards assigned by Uncle Jiang, immediately set to work upon hearing this. Within less than an hour, the entire truth was extracted. It was orchestrated by Song Yu and Zhou Wan. Originally, Song Yu had given them 300 taels of silver with one demand: set fire to the courtyard while I was newly moved in. But Zhou Wan disagreed. She proposed a scheme: first ruin my reputation, then burn everything to the ground. This would provide double assurance. Even if the arson failed, my reputation would already be tarnished, giving him grounds to divorce me. Then he would reveal that he had divorced me, not divorced me, and the world would praise his magnanimity. Finally, marrying Zhou Wan would be a natural progression. I was trembling with rage. Coincidentally, I had yet to retaliate against my mother-in-law for her earlier attempt on my life. Now was the perfect time to address both matters. I wore a veil when I met with those bandits. Uncle Qin, first, dismember their hands. Uncle Qin nodded and stepped forward, severing all 5 men's hands. The dark room echoed with agonized screams. Madam, spare. Spare our lives. We didn't know who we were dealing with and dared to cross you. But we were driven by sheer poverty, they exploited us. Please, madam, spare us. The leader begged for mercy first. The others followed suit, pleading for forgiveness. I sat composed at the head of the table, sipping my tea. After a long pause, I spoke slowly: if you wish to avoid being handed over to the authorities or executed, I do have an opportunity here. I wonder if you're willing to seize it. The 5 men nodded frantically. Yes, yes. We're willing. Please tell us, madam. I waved my hand, signaling Uncle Qin to place a tray holding 10 gold ingots before them. Here are 10 gold ingots, each weighing 10 taels. 100 taels of gold in total. Watching their greedy expressions, I felt nothing but scorn. Anything money can solve isn't worth worrying about. I would make Song Yu and Zhou Wan understand just how painful it is to lift a rock only to drop it on your own foot. This is the deposit. At these words, the greed in their eyes deepened. What I ask of you is simple: turn their own tactics against them. Perhaps still stinging from their loss to me and fearful of the official Song Yu, the leader's speech faltered. Madam, we can't handle this. Perhaps. I rose to my feet. Then there's no need to discuss it further. At this, the 5 men immediately grew panicked. Madam, we agree. I smiled and sat back down. That's more like it. Additionally, there's an old woman in the mansion. 10 more ingots of gold will be paid upon completion. To ensure you fulfill your task properly, we'll keep him behind. I pointed at the weakest-looking member of their group. Money moves people. 300 taels versus 2,000 taels, the difference was staggering. At my words, they perked up as if injected with adrenaline, eagerly nodding even at the prospect of leaving one behind. With this silver, as long as they didn't squander it, it would be enough for the 5 of them to live out their lives under new identities after the job was done. I had Uncle Qin reattach their hands. Song Yu, who was as weak as a kitten, struggled for a long time to pull her down, only to find she had already lost all signs of life. When the attendant reported these events, I merely thought fate was cruel. Now, seeing Uncle Qin actually strike her dead, Song Yu instantly wilted, his tone softening considerably. Ah Ning, I was wrong. Truthfully, I came today to apologize to you, but I couldn't bring myself to lose face. Humph. Couldn't save face, so you started berating me first? Does the loudest voice always win? I wasn't buying his act. We're already divorced. Leave. Seeing me dismiss him so coldly, panic flashed across his face. Ah Ning, I was wrong. I truly was wrong. Please forgive me. I won't marry Zhou Wan. A woman as vulgar and promiscuous as her shouldn't stand between us. His shameless, bottomless shamelessness was almost laughable. No. You only admit fault now because I'm your only chance to make a comeback. But don't you realize it's your fickle, two-faced ways that truly break hearts? Zhou Wan deserved her fate, but his hand was in it too. She was just a woman who lost her child and her virtue, who tripped him up when he was at his lowest. He sacrificed her. After Song Yu left, I lived quite leisurely for a while. The day after moving back to the new courtyard in the capital, my attendant came to ask. He is kneeling outside, kowtowing until his forehead is red. Would you see him, miss? The he she referred to was Song Min. That day, on his way back, Song Yu encountered the family he had once taken money from to secure a government post for them, the very family later exposed. Hating him for botching the job, which cost them both their wife and their fortune, they hung him up and beat him soundly. But Song Yu couldn't take a beating. After they let him down, he didn't see a doctor in time and lost his life on the way. Upon hearing the news, the remaining maids and servants at the Song residence looted whatever valuables they could carry away. No one paid Song Min any mind, let alone offered him care. Though already 5 or 6 years old, Song Min was still a young master. Not only could he not cook, but he had previously needed coaxing just to eat. A while back, I had him sent to the orphanage. But he couldn't endure the harsh life there. With his arrogant nature, he was either starving or getting beaten daily. So he ran away and came looking for me. Yet his blood is Song Yu's. When he's down and out, he seeks me out. Once he rises again, he'll abandon me just as easily. Being betrayed by one's closest kin once is enough to bear. I shook my head. Give him some silver. Leave the rest be. Some things happen, and I cannot pretend they don't weigh on my heart. Whatever his future holds, it is his own fate. End.